In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is his messenger. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is our divine reminder and warner that's in our midst. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Jock Brothers Presents Let Us Make Man, a podcast of three brothers who desires nothing more than to present a positive image of what a man should be striving to be. We all are family men who love our children. We all are businessmen. We all are youth mentors. And we all work hard in our communities to make it a decent and safe place to live. When putting this podcast together, we govern our actions by three rules. One, to put God first in all that we do. Two, to present content to podcasts that can make you a better you. And three, to show brotherhood and unity among men that you could be proud of.
Right.
My name is Brother Kawi Muhammad. I'll be one of your hosts and your moderator for the night. I'm born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a father of two, and who I love very much. Look, I'm that brother that loves the beginning of things, the root of things. I'm inspired by inspirations and motivations, and so that would govern my line of question. Now, with no further ado, let me go to the other host for the night, other Jock brother. I'm gonna start off with a sister brother, a Jock sister. She's a guest host for the night. Let me read some things about this sister. She's a proud member of the Nation of Islam. She works passionately with the 10,000 Fearless under the leadership of our regional minister student, Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad. What I like most about this sister, she brings so much energy to whatever environment that she's a part of. Every time you look around, she's doing something, whether she's on a food giveaway, whether she's in a community outreach. My sister Mariam Alima Warwick.
Alhamdulillah, all praises due to Allah. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah who appeared to us in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, to whom praises forever due. I further bear witness that he rose the exalted Christ, the Mahdi, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and with their two minds, they are guiding the Messiah in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I greet you again in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Brother Kawi, who we worked previously together before in the community, circa 2019. So this is how he knows me, and that is how I know him. And I thank you all for allowing me to come on your show and to co-host. I appreciate it.
Wow. Yes, wow. Don't forget to throw your plug in for your YouTube channel.
For my personal channel?
For your YouTube channel. Yes,
oh, yeah. Everything is Mariam Alima on everything. So you put in Mariam Alima, you'll find me. So support Jock Brothers and support Mariam and Illegal Rashad.
That's
Praise
right.
be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. All right. Now we have the Jay and the Jock Brothers. He's not with us right now, but he's on the way. So I'm gonna go right on to another Jock brother, another host of ours. This brother is, his daddy is one of the legends of the Nation of Islam in New York. And this brother do not lean on his daddy's name. He's trying to make a name for himself. And he unquestionably, in my opinion, is one of the great unknown leaders that we have. He's the current producer of this show. He's a well-traveled brother, positive brother. No further ado, my brother, Ahmed B.I.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. I bear witness there's no God but Allah, Muhammad is his messenger. To all, thank you all for joining on our podcast. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules. My name is Brother Ahmed. I'm co-host on this specific night. We're going to indulge in some real deep topics tonight. So stay tuned, get all your pens and pads out, open your minds up, and just indulge in our conversation. But as we introduce this platform, we are the Jock Brothers. You can support us financially at $Jock Bros, $Jock Bros on Cash App. You can see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen. You can also support us on YouTube. We're trying to blow YouTube out the water. You know, we're trying to give information to our people. So go on our page and subscribe. Hit the subscribe, hit the bell on our Facebook. Like us on Facebook, on Instagram. Follow us. We'll be coming in on TikTok and Twitter as well. You know, we want to share little tidbits from all the guests that we have and from our co-hosts. So support us any way you can and just continue to watch us. We're on 7 p.m. Tuesday, 7 p.m. every week. Jock Brothers, let us make man. Thank you, Brother Carly.
Praise be to Allah. All right. I think we're fully ready to go. So with no further ado, let me start it off now. There are many movies and shows that showcase the battle in the sky or UFOs. Movies like Battlestar Galactica, Lost in Space, Star Wars, Star Trek, Independence Day, just to name a few. Although the shows are great for entertainment, the question that has never been asked is, are the UFOs real or not? Well, today, we got the Jock Brothers presents two brothers that dedicate their lives to hurling truth at falsehood and to knock out his brains.
That's right.
We have two of the foremost researchers that the Nation of Islam produced. And so let me get right to introducing him. Even though he just came on, my brother, I'm going to get to you first. My brother joined the Nation of Islam at the age of 15 years old. He attended the University of Mississippi. He is a local student minister at Mosque number 15 under the leadership of student minister Anthony Muhammad. And I know Brother Iliad Rashad is going to correct me on that name real soon.
Muvakir.
He is a member of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's research team. He's evangelizing over 50 cities on many platforms, and he's an author of many books. But after our conversation yesterday, I know one of his great passions is defending Farrakhan. With no further ado, I'd like to introduce my brother to you, Brother Dimitri Muhammad. With a Jock Brothers round of applause.
Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Any opening words, brother?
Just a great honor and privilege. We thank Allah for the privilege and the opportunity to be with you tonight. Certainly have a lot of love and admiration for Jock Brothers as one of the leading podcasts during the pandemic, which serves a very vital role in creating positive, spiritual, relevant content for the believing community and our people. So we're grateful to be with brothers that we love and admire. And it's always a special added treat to be with my dear brother and friend, Student Minister Ilya Rashad Muhammad. So I'm looking forward to a great conversation.
Praise be to Allah. And our second guest tonight, been trying to get this brother on this show a very long time. And this brother he tried to keep it simple, but he's really extraordinary. I mean, he's a public educator. He's a urban gardener and a beekeeper. This brother speaks to the bees. Yeah, he is also a student minister out of Mosque number 55 under the local leadership of Brother Anthony Muhammad. I'm going.
Brother Muzakir Muhammad.
Yes, sir. He's also a member of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan research team and is an author of several books, including a book that we're going to be talking on tonight. Sister Miriam. That's right. All right. With no further ado, with a Job Brothers round of applause, please welcome our brother Ilya Rashad Muhammad.
Hey.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. All praise is due to Allah. And again, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you so much for this invitation to be able to talk about and discuss a topic of this magnitude. It's a topic that so many continue to run from. So I'm honored, I'm privileged, and thankful to be on a platform with you brothers and sister, and to be able to talk about this topic, especially with my dear brother, friend, and colleague, Brother Dimitri Muhammad. So again, thank you, and I'm excited, y'all.
Memphis got it going on.
Yeah. Let's pull the blanket off this
hot. Wow. All right. So look, let's get it started. First of all, I do want to know, Brother Ilya, just on a personal note, just to get the ball rolling. I noticed you have two names. Can you tell us a story behind that, brother?
My name, Ilya Rashad. Interestingly, my parents who gave me this Islamic name were not knowingly Muslims. My parents, my late mother, the late evangelist Mary Cross, formerly known by her stage name as an artist with Stacked Records as Wendy Renee, she and my father were both evangelical Christian parents. My mother being an evangelist and my father being a deacon. Growing up in the Church of God in Christ, they happened to give me a name that my father really gave me, Ilya and Rashad, mostly because they thought it was cool. They did not know the meaning behind the name. Heck, I didn't know that my name even had meaning until I became pretty much an adult.
Right.
I think Ahmad Rashad was running back for the Vikings during the time I was born, if I'm not mistaken. And my father
not
being
Ahmed Rashad, but Ahmad Rashad. You want to get there? Okay, yes, sir.
But Ahmed's gonna get you too, brother. And so, needless to say, it wasn't until later that I even found out the meaning of my name. And the name Rashad is a common name in the Muslim world, meaning integrity or rectitude, morality, or uprightness of conduct.
Yes.
And the name Ilya is a Semitic name that is basically the same name as Elijah. You have Ili, Yah. Ili is short for my Allah. Ili, Allahi, or Ili, my God. Just like when Jesus was on the cross and he said, Ili, Ili, lama sabachthani, my God, my God. And the other part, Yah, is an abbreviated name of God. That's where you get Yahweh or Jehovah or Yahweh from. So you have the Lord, my God. It's literally a call on God. It's the name Elijah. And I was sharing with you shortly before we got on that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told me that he was considering, giving me a name. But he told me that he couldn't do that because I already have a good name that he loves so much. So in words, he blessed the name that I was blessed to be born with. So I'm very happy and thankful to have been able to come through some parents that they knew something.
Right. Praise be to Allah. But anyway, no further ado, let's get to work, family. Let's get to work. All right. All right, brother. We all wrote a bunch of questions down there, and then we're going to go off the audience as well. So look, my first question is, Ezekiel. He had this vision back in 595 BC of a wheel within a wheel. Now, a lot of us believe that the Red Sea parted. A lot of us believe that Jesus turned water into some wine, some alcohol. We believe all of these miracles. The lion was in the furnace, but for some reason, we do not, or we are reluctant to believe in a will that actually is manifested right before ourselves. Can you tell me why this may be? Both of you, anyone, however you want to attack this, y'all can go back to back, however you want to do it. Can you tell us why it's a reluctance to believe in this will?
Sure. And I'm certain Brother Dimitri will add on to this.
Yes, sir.
Most people who believe in the religious traditions, be it Judeo-Christian or Islamic, the world of religion has been so largely deceived in the sense that those prophecies that we read about, those scriptural prophecies, are mistaken as history. So when we read about these different fanciful events taking place in the Bible stories, we get confused and think that happened yesterday. Plus, we get confused by looking at the symbols and mistaking the symbols for the reality. Right. So we are turned totally away from the reality and the fulfillment when it is on the scene. In the first chapter of Ezekiel, acknowledges in the first chapter, I think that even the first verse, that it was during this time that he saw visions from God.
Right.
Visions, prophecies. These are things to come. And to make a long story short, I would strongly argue that one of the reasons people try to refuse to acknowledge or believe in the reality of the fulfillment of this will is because God revealed it to a black man from among themselves, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Beautiful.
And because he brought this truth to the world, and that truth is now evident in the real world, they want to do everything to try to avoid not only the truth of it, but the source of this truth.
Brother Dimitri, you want to jump on that?
I think I would just add to my brother's, beautiful response that there are those who have a reluctance to believe in the reality of so-called UFOs. However, over the years, there have been many studies that have identified that even though the American government has not been forthcoming in sharing with the American people what they know about the reality of the wheels, there upwards of maybe 70 or 80% of the American people who believe that UFOs exist.
Okay.
So you have a situation on the ground where, as the old expression goes, the people are often smarter than you think they are. And so the dearth or the gap exists in that those who believe don't know where to get the right information from to fully explain what it is that they have seen and what others have seen and what they know has been seen around the world and what many other governments around the world have been candid enough to share with their citizenry. So I concur with Brother Student Minister Ilya that one of the great impediments among those who yet disbelieve exists in their faulty understanding of God and religion. And I have noticed in my experience that there appears to be another fundamental logical fallacy among those who disbelieve in not just the wheel, but in all of what we represent in the Nation of Islam that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches and that Minister Farrakhan confirms. And that is this: even though we might believe that God did wonderful things for the people in ancient times, we really have trouble believing that what God did yesterday, he is well able to do today.
Beautiful.
So really, religion, one of the staples of modern organized religion, is to actually believe that God's greatest exploits were done in bygone years. In fact, about it, if you believe that God is actually active in the world today in a similar way that he was in times past, you and your religious belief is labeled and marginalized as being a cult.
That's right.
This is extraordinary. You mentioned, and I think I have to apologize because I have not updated my bio to include student Minister Abdul Muthakir's new holy name given to him by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So he is no more to be known as Brother Anthony, even though he did a lot of good as Brother Anthony. But I remember once upon a time, he was at the rostrum and he read a quote from a sociologist. And the quote, and I have to paraphrase, but it was a profound point to me. He said that, you know, we live in the age of modern technology, but most people's understanding of God is still in the horse and buggy days.
Woo.
So I'll just leave it at that.
Throwing punches off the top. Okay.
Yes, I have to jump in. I have to jump in because we noted that Ezekiel's vision was in 595 BC. And I'm a numbers lady, and that equals 19. And my name, by the grace of Allah, is Mariam. So
Watch out now.
you gotta just make it add up. That, I'm gonna ask my first question to either one of you can answer this with whatever knowledge that you have. In your knowledge, do you know if there being women on the mother plane? And I ask this question because I've never thought that there weren't, but there are individuals within the nation that did not think that there were or are women on the mother plane.
I'll give a very simple response. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that there's a civilization on that wheel. And there's no way you can have a civilization with people without having women on there. Look, if the wheel is void of women, I don't know if it's a place that, or a thing that I would be anxious to receive wisdom and guidance from. I'm just, but in all honesty and in all fairness, yes, because you can't have a civilization on that wheel without having women. I mean, think about it. Master Farad Muhammad's mother, he promised that she would prepare a feast for us, in our victory. Where is she? So I think that it would do us a grave disservice if we take on those very outdated horse and buggy thoughts and try to apply it to the magnificent wisdom and teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I don't think that would fit.
Right.
Well, let's. I know you both are eager to give us information on what the Nation of Islam teaches about the so-called FY. But I just wanted to give a little timeline of some of the things I researched that the United States had documented.
Cut your volume up, Brother Ahmed.
In 1942, and at the Pearl Harbor bombing, that's where that's where they noted that some of these sightings began. In 1947, they experienced much more sightings than that at Pearl Harbor. And in 1948, 1949, they put together an investigation team called the Blue Book, where they documented all these sightings and all these viewings. And even until 2017, the brother that, or the man that led ATAP, the Department of Advanced Aerial Space Investigation Program, his name is Luis Elizondo. Right. Now he's stating today in most of his interviews that the thought of this wheel or these unidentified flying objects, which they name it now as unidentified aerial phenomenon, that they're not looking at it as coming from outer space now. That according to their facts and their research today, if you study it, if you look at it and check it out, that they're looking more towards these baby planes and this mother wheel as being something that may have been produced right here on this planet. So I just wanted to throw that out there before you go into the Nation of Islam and the teachings of how the teachings relate with the UFOs.
Right. I don't know if you all have been able to read the report that was released by the official report released by the Pentagon, U.S. Defense, the U.S. government pertaining to these UAPs or UFOs. And for those of us who know better, it was a pretty dismal report. It was about 9 pages. And basically, it concluded pretty much what you just said, Brother Ahmed, that their conclusion was that we don't know what they are. They gave some hypotheses, and they gave about 4 or 5 classes of what they could be. Some of those include the possibility of it being of extraterrestrial origin, even though they pretty much kind of rule that out.
Right.
They give the possibility that it could be a foreign adversary of another government, Russia or Germany or something like that, even though they pretty much rule that out too.
Yes,
they give the possibility that it could be like in words, a shadow government program that the main government doesn't know about, maybe something from the deep state, but they kind of rule that possibility out as well. They gave, I think, another category, but the other category that they gave is literally other.
right.
In other words, we don't know what the hell it is. So, and what's funny to us in the Nation of Islam is that, I mean, it's like, look, we've been telling you from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Farrakhan exactly what these things are before you became enamored with them. But now the government wants to act like they don't know where to go to find the truth about this thing, but they continue to avoid the representative of that truth. So, you know, it's all a game.
To that, only because you said it's all a game, I have to jump in again. I apologize, but I was watching Savior's Day 2011, a scientific analysis of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They were doing that plenary exhibition. But anyway, there was a person that was giving a report on Roswell 1947, and that there were soldiers that, you know, were there and that they recovered remains from the crash or what may have you. And they explained that they had remains of creatures. Now, it's funny to me how they are bearing witness to the baby planes being out there, but then they say that they captured creatures when we know that they are human beings. So what say you to the half-truths that they like to give?
Want to go, Brother Dimitri?
Well, I think that it's consistent with the overall purpose of hiding the truth. You know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wrote a magnificent book entitled A Torchlight for America, and one of the sections in that magnificent book was called Hiding the Light. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is free.
Uh-oh.
You know, the truth that he is preaching, that our slave masters and their children would never tell us the truth of it. He went so far as to say all of the foreign nations could be at America's door ready to take her over, and she still would not tell the sons and daughters of her former slaves the truth.
That's right.
And I want to encourage the viewers to really, if you haven't already, to get a copy of Brother Elia Rashad's book, because he documents not just our belief in the wheels or mother plane and baby planes, but he provides documentation that vindicates the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching about these so-called UFOs. And this becomes very important because when you look at the fact that we are some 79 years on the other side, Brother Ahmed gave a brief timeline, right? So in 1942, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was arrested twice. He was arrested in the month of May and also in the month of September. And he said in the Theology of Time lecture series in the 70s that when they arrested him, contrary to popular belief, they weren't there scolding him about calling the white man the devil or being a racist or being an anti-Semite. None of the things that we might think that they would, you know, be grilling him over. But he said that they were imploring him to tell them more about what he knew about these wheels, these UFOs.
That's right.
Now, pause to check the scene. They were asking Elijah Muhammad, this black man, as we love to say and affectionately say, a Georgia-born black man who only went to 3 years of formal education in a rural set-aside school for freed slaves. They are the American government, the same government that goes globally and punks other nations, makes them to tremble. They are pleading with this man to tell them what he knows about what they viewed at that early date as an existential threat to American security.
Come on now.
And they waited 79 years to let the masses of the American people know just the mere fact that they exist. To Brother Iliad's point, you know, they put in their report that they don't really know what it is, but we just will tell y'all we're going to stop saying it's swamp gas or weather balloons, etc. So what I'm getting at is this. The fact that Elijah Muhammad knew this and publicly taught this for more than 40 years in America, the fact that he passed this wisdom on to his student, Louis Farrakhan, and he has represented this for now more than 40 years in America, and that this has been a staple teaching and belief of the Nation of Islam for more than 90 years in America, is one of the greatest, if not the greatest proofs that Elijah Muhammad did in fact meet with the Supreme Being. For he is the recipient of knowledge that not even the most powerful government in the world has possession of.
Right,
And
right.
if they want possession of it, they have to come and sit at his foot and the foot of his servant, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So this is extraordinary. What we're talking about is the point. I don't want us to lose sight of the global implications, but also the divine implication. This is proof of our theology.
You want to answer that, brother?
Oh, praise be to Allah.
Boy, look. Ditto. And we were talking about the Roswell crash, whatever that was. And one thing we have to remember, even though we provided them an opportunity to present certain truths on our platform back in 2011, they don't have the whole truth, you know. And the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, during the Theology of Time lecture series, talked to us about this alleged Roswell crash. And he let us know on really several occasions that these highly superior planes of God don't crash.
That's right.
What God would do, he would allow just some of his technology into the enemy's possession. This is why the wheel, and these wheels are known as God's calling cards.
Right.
It's literally a gift to let the enemy know that there is a power far superior, far greater, far wiser, far more advanced than anything that you can think of. And if I give you a glimpse of this power, let's see how you're going to act with it. You see? And this is consistent with the pattern of God throughout the sacred text of Bible and Holy Quran. God has always shown his power and extended the opportunity even to the oppressors, even to the wicked tyrants and rulers and pharaohs. He gives them evidence of his superior power to give them the opportunity to get it right. But you and I both know that most of the time, perhaps 99% of the time in the scriptures, even though God proves his power, just like he did to Pharaoh in the stories of Moses in the Exodus, just like he did with King Herod during the time of Jesus, these people were shown the power of God, but they still refuse to bow down to his will. Today is no different. America knows the power that is in the world that they call UAPs, or unidentified aerial phenomena. And to be honest with you, those at the very highest echelons of government and military intelligence, they know for certain that Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad are the representatives of that power.
Yes, sir.
But just like Pharaoh, just like Herod, they ain't gonna do right. They ain't gonna do right despite all the evidence. And this is why destruction and judgment is warranted to them. And today is no different.
I mean, I most certainly hear the passion of both of y'all brothers and the knowledge that y'all are spitting out. Really, I mean, what made you two get so interested in the study of UFOs? I mean, how about you, Brother Elliot?
Well, I, just like Brother Dimitri, we have a passion for defending the truth. We live in a world where the truth and the truth speaker, the messengers of truth, are the most vilified, plotted against, lied on, and hated on individuals. And we are those who are bold enough and in truth wise enough to stand with these messianic figures of God among us. So it behooves us as believers, as Muslims, as those seeking righteousness, to stand up on the truth, especially when that truth can be proven in the real world with facts and evidence. So I know as a student of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Farrakhan that this is a truth that back in the day used to be one of the aspects of the teachings that was perhaps the most mocked, the most ridiculed, because the evidence was not as available as it is today. They didn't have internet and YouTube and camera phones in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and barely even in the 90s. This is a relatively new phenomenon, which has allowed the fact that everything the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave to us from God in person is now being proven true on the scientific level, with historical evidence, with anthropological and with clear pictorial evidence, photographs and videos. So out of the spirit to defend the truth, this is partly what prompted me, and I'm certain with Demetric as well, to start engaging in a topic of this magnitude, because at the root of this topic of so-called UFOs is going to have to take you to the source, and that source is the fact that Elijah Muhammad met the supreme being. It's going to be real hard trying to get away from that truth.
Right.
I would certainly concur with my brother Kawi, and I would only add to that. You know, you mentioned Memphis, you mentioned Mississippi. You know, you're talking about the Deep South, and you're talking about the Bible Belt, and we came into the nation very young, and in this environment, Christianity is king. You're in the Bible Belt. I know Atlanta might argue with us, but Memphis is quite possibly the buckle of the Bible Belt. And the only reason I raise that point is because if you're going to believe in any other religion than traditional Black Christianity, you better know what you're talking about, because you're signing on for mockery, you're signing on for ridicule, you're signing on to be marginalized and ostracized. So I can't wax noble in terms of my passion for defending the teachings. I developed that. I think I began with a passion to defend my belief in the teachings, because I was in an environment that's very, very hostile to not just the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but anything deemed other or foreign to being a good old-fashioned, you know, Black Baptist here in the Deep South. But I'm grateful that Allah placed me and brothers like Brother Ilya in this hostile environment, because it proves a larger principle that whatever Allah places us into, that is a trying situation, that is a difficult situation, if we persevere, He will bless us in that which previously came into our life as a painful experience. So we are now today not from New York City, we're not from Los Angeles, we're not from Atlanta, we're not from Houston, Texas, we're not from Boston, Massachusetts, but we're from Memphis, Tennessee, and we are representing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in his work. See, because I want to make it clear, according to the Holy Quran, in the 28th Surah, the 35th ayat, it says that Musa prayed to Allah to give him a helper in his brother Harun or Aaron. And in that specific passage, it says that Allah had granted Musa's request, and that Harun or Aaron's work would be to confirm that which Allah had revealed to Musa. Well, that's ancient times. In the modern times, look at the glorious ministry of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It is his work as the modern Harun to confirm, meaning to prove true, to vindicate, to verify, to substantiate to concretize that which Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, revealed to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And then as the minister was doing that, he gave birth to others who would be helpers of his in what is his divine assignment. So we're grateful that Allah has blessed us to be just a small part of the overall grand work of his servant, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Praise
Praise
to
to
Allah.
Allah. You're on mute, Carly. You're on mute. Carly, you're on mute.
Sorry about that, man. I was bearing witness so loud, man. I ain't want nobody to hear. Wow. Look, so with that being said, man, why should people take this UFO subject so serious?
Yes. There are several reasons why it behooves all of us, Black, Muslim, Christian, white, it behooves humanity to take this subject seriously. Because if it is known that there's a power in the world that's greater than all of the power of the tyrants and rulers and oppressors and governments and militaries put together, then we should want to seek guidance, help, and assistance from the most superior power that is known to man. And since that power is present in what you call the UFO phenomena, then it would only make sense, logical sense, that we seek to know what this power is and how we can benefit from it.
Right.
And if you do take an objective approach in seeking the truth about these planes, then it will lead you to that humble Black man from Georgia called the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And in seeking him, it will lead you to his designated and anointed national representative, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So the fact that the world's most powerful governments and militaries have spent billions and countless billions, trillions of dollars over several decades trying to monitor and even in some cases trying to attack these planes, that should let the common person know that this should be of utmost importance. The fact that your taxpayer dollars have been used and misused to try to find out what these planes are that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had already told you about. The fact that all of your presidents since Franklin Delano Roosevelt have had an issue with this reality that is in the world as a matter of national and world security, that should let you know that it should be of utmost importance to you. The fact that the American government, the most powerful government in the world, has classified this truth as above top secret should let you know that they're trying to keep it from you, which should make us want to, delve into this subject even more. And I think I want to kind of throw the ball to Brother Dimitri, because when taken into consideration, we come from a people of slaves, and our people have yearned for a power to come in the world. And Brother Dimitri, we had a conversation about this a while back when it comes to those Negro spirituals. Could you share some of that with us?
Yes, and I wanted to punctuate that point by starting with this point. And I don't know if you got a chance to look at it, Brother Kawi. I think I sent it to you, but it was, and I just found this out today going through some of my notes and my files, that it was on this very date, 48 years ago in 1973, that the Muhammad Speaks carried the headline, "O Wheel." And it was actually during the month of August and September in 1973 that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad published a series of writings or articles going into an analysis of Ezekiel's vision, the wheel. And so I think that it is fitting, more than fitting, for us to be having this conversation on this date, the same date, August 31st, 1973, when the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, there it is, carried that beautiful headline. And, you know, I put that quote there because, you know, Brother Ilya talked about the Negro spirituals. And that's a perfect segue into why that quote is there. I want to read it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote, "O wheel, the greatest mechanical defender, powered by the Spirit of Allah to protect us, the Black people on the face of the earth." Wow. A protection for the people of God that we didn't even know was being prepared for us. See, so, you know, ufology can be put in a lot of different genres. But as a student in the ministry, I find that this is powerful pastoral care for the believer and for our people.
Right.
Many of us have heard that great and legendary Negro spiritual called Swing Low, Sweet Charity.
That's right.
Coming, for to carry me home. I saw a band of angels waiting for me, coming for to carry me home. Well, according to the biblical narrative, the wheels are frequently referred to as the chariots of God.
That's right.
And there have been scholars, one that you know, our great brother, student minister, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, who has written and published in academic journals about the wheel as the chariot of God. A few years ago, we published an article in the Final Call where we talked about how this specific Negro spiritual and its author, a man named Wallace Willis, who was half Black and half Indian. He wrote a song about a chariot coming to carry me home. I don't know if you caught that, but his name was Wallace.
Come on now.
And he was half Black and half Indian. You know, kind of like the 17 million with the 2 million Indians.
That's right.
And he's writing a song about a chariot, not coming for everybody, but coming for me. So think about the world and this time and the season that we're in currently, where there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of grief. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of deception. This is the kind of subject that we should be feeding on, because it helps us to see that beyond what the promoters of the COVID-19 vaccine have to say, beyond what Mr. Biden and the government have to say, beyond what Negro celebrities have to say, there is a reality that exists primarily for the purpose of defending Black people in America and delivering the believing men and women. Right. Brother Ilya lifted the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's talk, which was a series within a series in the time and what must be done. And I encourage everyone that's watching to go and visit that. It was near the end of the minister's week for week, 58 weeks coming to us every Saturday evening. But he talked about the wheel and its dual nature. And Brother Ilya and myself, you know, one of the great highlights of our career was to be helpers of Minister Farrakhan during that series.
Right.
And at one point, the minister said, I want to look at how Allah in the Holy Quran is frequently referenced by his attributes that are frequently placed there in pairs. He says there's a duality in the nature of God. And then he said that the wheel has a dual nature. Yes, it's there to provide détente, if you will, or a checkmate to the balance of Satan. And it's really a superior force than Satan's power, because as Brother Ilya documents in the history of the American government, the wheels have appeared over America's nuclear installations. Right. And when it appeared over her nuclear installations, the soldiers who were there manning those nuclear installations reported that the nuclear weapons had been taken offline. They have been disabled and did not have the ability to be fired if those soldiers desired to fire them. So the wheel is there to, we would say, have some destructive purpose. But as brother also said, there's a new civilization there, and it has a purpose of deliverance and protection of the people. So I think that now, being armed with the research of what Brother Ilya put in his book, being armed with the recent revelations of the U.S. government, we're in a season now where we have to be a little bolder and talking to John and Jane Q. Public of Black America about the reality of UFOs and what they really are there for. It's not a time for us to shy away from this subject as we may have once did in times past, because even though we may have believed in it, we didn't feel confident in explaining it to someone that didn't know what we were already talking about. But we are prepared now, and Allah has given to us what we need to take this beautiful pastoral truth that what Wallace Willis wrote about, and that what grandma and granddad sang about, swing low, sweet chariot, is real.
Yes,
we have the details of it. We know the God that created it. And what America is fearing is there for us and our salvation.
Come on now.
I'll go on and on, because it's a beautiful subject to me.
Swing low.
Beautiful subject.
I want to hear what the Nation of Islam exactly has to do with this, with the mother plane, with the UFOs. What is the exact connection? Well, hold on, before you get into that, we have it's 8 o'clock, so we usually show a brief sponsor commercial for all our sponsors, and all those in our listening audience. If you would like to join our sponsorship to help support us, please email us. I'll put the email. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. But basically, that was it. I was really trying to, let's get into the meat of exactly what the Nation of Islam have to do with USOs. What is the exact connection?
That connection of UFOs has everything to do with the Nation of Islam. I don't know if I'm able to share this screen right now. When I saw you ask that question earlier, Brother Ahmed, I was reminded of some words of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in The Fall of America, wherein he says, and I quote, "The mother plane and her work is a display of the power of the mightiest God, Master Father Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever." You would not have what you call a UFO phenomena. You would not have these flying disc-shaped objects that have been seen over America's airspace and over shutting down nuclear warheads all over the world, showing and demonstrating their superiority over all of the militaries and governments of the world. That is a display of the mightiest God and his power. We're talking about a real God in the real world, Master Father Muhammad. And the proof of that is the fact that you do not have any real UFO concerns or mass sightings or government investigations or reports or authentic pictures or videos of these planes before they launched from this earth in 1929. All, and listen to me carefully, all of your credible UFO researchers and historians will tell you that the UFO phenomena didn't become a real concern until the 1940s.
That's right.
This is after they launched in 1929 and still after Master Fard Muhammad showed these things to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in person, which was the early 30s. This is still after the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has started teaching about the reality of this huge wheel and these smaller wheel-shaped planes that his God in person showed to him. So when you want to talk about the UFO phenomena or unidentified aerial phenomena, you cannot truthfully talk about this at its source without dealing directly with the Nation of Islam. And this is why this topic has been placed above top secret. This is why this matter has been considered a matter of national security. This is why when they arrested the Honorable Elijah Muhammad after they first encountered the wheel in 1942, they asked and interrogated him about this reality and questioned him about it. They got their information about this from him when they arrested him and then locked him up as a result of his knowledge and teaching about these planes. So the fact that all of this talk about UFOs from the Senate, the Pentagon, the Congress, so-called UFO researchers, and you overlook declassified FBI files about Elijah Muhammad's relationship to these planes called wheels, if you're going to overlook that, then you're not worth your salt as a researcher or as a UFO believer, for that matter, because the truth is right there. So it's hypocritical to keep trying to overlook the Nation of Islam's inherent relationship with this phenomenon.
You want to get in there, Brother Dimitri?
Yes, beautiful response from my dear brother. And I would only add to that, when we're talking about the role of the Nation of Islam with the current UFO phenomenon, is that number one, long before the US government has just now admitted it, this has been a staple of our religious teaching and belief.
That's right.
And so our belief in it, our understanding of it predates these sightings, as Brother Iliad just referenced, and it certainly predates the US government's admission to it. But from a spiritual perspective, I'd like for us to consider what Allah has said in both the Holy Quran and Bible. In the 72nd surah of the Quran, around the 26 and 27 ayat of the English translation, Allah describes how he reveals his secrets to his servants, the prophets, and he appoints for it a guardian and a protector that goes before it and behind it. In the Bible, in the Old Testament, when you get into the book of Amos, in the 3rd chapter and the 7th verse, it says, "And the Lord thy God shall do nothing except that he first share his secrets with his servants, the prophets." So in America, the truth about UFOs has been above top secret. But the truth of the secret was given to a black man born from amongst us proving yet again another biblical principle. And that is when you have Jesus exclaiming to God that he was so thankful that God had kept certain wisdom and truth away from the powerful, away from the wise, away from the prudent, and had instead chosen to give it unto a people referred to symbolically as babes and infantile people, a people unsophisticated in the things of God and the knowledge of prophecy. Yet
That's right.
God chose to prove his strength in their weakness. He chose to demonstrate his wisdom in their ignorance. And so we today, even in this late date of 2021, oftentimes don't really realize and appreciate the serious profoundness of what we have been given. And quite frankly, sometimes we take it for granted. But these are the heretofore carefully guarded secrets of God,
Right.
that as a part of our inheritance and as a part of our blessing for what we suffered for more than 400 years, he has gifted us with that which he has kept elusive to the powerful rulers of the world. If we were in church, there'd be something for us to shout about. So is all wrapped up, intertwined, interconnected, above, under, on the left and on the right of the modern UFO phenomenon. It belongs to us as the caretakers of God's secret wisdom on behalf of our suffering people.
Beautiful, beautiful. Sister Mary, you have a question?
Well, I have to. I've got plenty. I do need to go backtrack to Brother Demetrius, Willis, because you ain't finished, Brother Demetrius. You said Wallace Will is the chariot. You gotta add that Willis. Okay.
I like that.
Yeah. And I have to ask this question. My mother asked, what did the Christ say to the FBI's when they interrogated him about the wheel?
You know what? I have a slide. You want to put it on the slide?
Yes, sir.
I happen to have this slide up, and this is just
right
some. Yes, it's on now. This is just some of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad shared about the FBI interrogation. And be mindful, this is in 1942, shortly after the U.S. Armed Forces encountered these wheels over what is now known as the Battle of Los Angeles, which took place late February of 1942. A government investigation took place thereafter, which led government and military intelligence to the only entity who was on public record for talking about these flying discs that had never been seen before like that, or never been encountered before in that manner. So their investigations, government investigations, led the FBI to arrest the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and 80 plus other believers from our temple. When they arrested the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the FBI interrogated him about the wheel that they had just encountered. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad started telling us about it. And he says, and I quote, as you can see, "Write in the paper if you want, and tell the devil what I am telling you. See if he'll try to deny it." In other words, see if these folks are going to try to deny what he's saying about these so-called UFOs. They know it's out there. I sat down and I talked with them years ago about it. They asked me questions. They have the drawing of the wheel on a blackboard that they'd taken from us when they arrested us. And I had drawn the plane talking about the mother plane,
Mhm.
and written explanations on the blackboard, and they took it to the FBI office. He says they have it there today. They know this to be true, and they admitted to me that this is true. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is telling us what the FBI really was questioning him about.
Mm.
As Brother Dimitri stated earlier, oh, it wasn't about some anti-Semitism or some dogma. Hell no. This was a matter of America's national security. They did not arrest and interrogate the Honorable Elijah Muhammad about a spook. You see? They didn't arrest him and ask him and interrogate him about some fanciful mythology.
Right.
They questioned him about a reality
Mm.
because it is evident that the God he represents, the God of those wheels that taught him everything he knew, is real and in the world. So the FBI is one of the first that has to admit that Elijah's God is God.
That's right. That's
And
right.
see, this is why the world of religion and science and academia and intelligence do not want to deal with the Nation of Islam on this topic,
Mm.
because this topic allows us to prove that God is a man and that Elijah Muhammad was taught by the supreme being, God in person. We are able to prove that in realistic terms, you see?
Mm.
Not based on, oh, I just believe, or, you know, it's just in my head, I believe in my heart. Hell no.
Right.
This is truth that can be verified in the real world with empirical data. You
Yes,
see?
sir.
So you can't come to us talking about religion and what you believe and not bring forth evidence.
Mm.
What the Honorable Minister Farrakhan represents from his teacher, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is a teaching of God that can be proven. It is evidential, you see, and it is most congruent with the scriptures most people claim they believe in anyway.
Mm.
Think about this, and I'll end this point. How the heck? See how I'm trying to keep from cussing? I'm doing good, animation.
You're doing good, brother. Come on, man.
How the heck can religious folk who believe in the Bible, the Torah, the Gospel, the New Testament, the Holy Quran, you say you believe in these scriptures when all of these scriptures depict God and his angels operating from heavenly vehicles that fly in the sky,
Mm.
from Genesis to Revelations, from Al-Fatiha to Al-Nas, but you don't want to acknowledge the fulfillment of God in the real world when he did exactly what the prophecy said he would do? You would have to be a hypocrite
Wow.
to say you believe in those scriptures and then reject the God of Elijah Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan.
Mm.
Yeah,
How can you with logic even utter to say you believe in the God of a scripture who all throughout these scriptures says that he's described operating from these heavenly vehicles called a wheel, called his chariots, called a cloud by day and looks like a pillar of fire or a star in the evening time?
Come on, come on.
God dwelling in a place described in the New Testament as the New Jerusalem, the heavenly Jerusalem, which is above, the mother of us all.
Right.
How can you say you believe in a God like that and reject the Nation of Islam?
Preach.
See, all religious folk, all your academics, all your scientists have to bear witness that this Farrakhan man, this Elijah Muhammad, oh, they know what the hell they talking about.
That's right. That's
Mm.
right.
I'm
Brother,
sorry. I get passionate, man, because look, this God is real. And I say to you, as the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says, this reality of UFOs or this mother plane, that's the work of the power of the mightiest God,
Right.
Master Fathers Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever.
Praise be to
I just
Allah.
want to welcome my brother Jack, to the show, brother. You have any opening words you
There
want to say? I mean, of course.
he is. He finally came home, man.
Finally came on, brother. I wasn't ready.
I just gave a sermon. Let me.
I do have a question for the brothers. Do we have any verified instances where the baby wheels have attacked anyone?
No. And that is a point made by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the time and what must be done. And I can't overemphasize really the whole series, the time and what must be done.
Right.
But really, the minister took up this subject as a series within a series, and we were blessed to be with him as he prepared and poured over documents and revisited the messenger's writings on this subject. And one of the points that he lifted for consideration for the leaders of America is that all of the years that they have had sighting, even as I mentioned earlier, when wheels appeared over America's nuclear installations. And I have to emphasize that when we talk about America as a global superpower, it really boils down to she has more powerful weapons than anybody else. She has the most powerful nuclear arsenal in the world that, you know, they say can kill all humanity hundreds of times over, right? So it is her military might that she threatens the nations of the earth over, as the scripture speaks of the curtains in the land of Midian did tremble, you see, talking about how they were in awe over the coming of God. Well, before God comes, this evil nation made the nations to tremble. So it's very significant that there is well-documented evidence of so-called UFO sightings over America's nuclear sites.
That's right.
And they did not attack the nuclear sites, but, you know, in words, they showed up to make a demonstration. We're
Their
here.
power.
We can disable your most powerful weapons,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't do anything about it. We're not here to harm you, but we want you to understand you're not the power that you think you are. There's a greater power in the earth. And so the minister beautifully made that point again as he was talking about the dual nature of the wheel. Notice the most honorable Elijah Muhammad referred to it as the mother wheel. You know, mother is the source of unconditional love. Mother is a nurturer. Mother is the first teacher. I mean, we all know the wisdom related to that terminology of mother. So this wheel has not come and presented itself in America to do harm to the American people, because as the Quran says, Allah never punishes a people until he raises up in their midst a messenger or a prophet to give them an opportunity to repent. Now, of course, at a certain point, if repentance is not effectuated among an errant and wicked people,
Come on now.
then Allah's wrath comes forth.
That's right.
And so I hope that, you know, that point resonates. And I only wanted to add this, you know, when Brother Ilya was speaking about the government's interrogation of the messenger, you know, over the wheel, and the wheel being a problem for America's national security interests. This really kind of helps us to put into perspective that famous political cartoon, that was appeared in the back of Mad magazine or Esquire magazine, pardon me, back in, I believe, 1964. I don't know if you have it, Brother Kawhi, to show, but it'd be good to show because there was the cartoon image of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, in that cartoon image, he's situated in the midst of world leaders on an international stage. And you had the French president, Charles de Gaulle, standing on the stage, speaking to all of the world leaders. And notice what he says in the quotes. Says, if it was not for this man, we would have a glorious future.
I remember that. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Yes, sir.
so now marry that on to what we now know that the government knew. There it is. Praise be to Allah. That the government knew about Elijah Muhammad's knowledge of the will, his detailed understanding of the will, and that he told them that this was taught to him by his teacher. Now, go into the writings of Dr. Wesley, and he documented for the first time what had been in existence inside of the FBI files, wherein we learned that in an effort to ridicule or to make the Honorable Elijah Muhammad look ridiculous, the federal law enforcement agencies traveled the world in search of his teacher, Master Fard Muhammad, this same man that is responsible for the wheel.
Come on.
They went as far as to New Zealand on the taxpayers' dime, searching for the teacher of Elijah Muhammad. Well, now that we know what we know about the wheel, could it be that they wanted to perhaps neutralize him as a threat to America's national security interests? Since Elijah Muhammad's knowledge of these UFOs, this is the man that had taught him of it. So you see, when we get into this subject, we see not only the pastoral message, which is quite profound, but we see that this puts the little messenger of Allah on the world stage, puts the little baby nation of Islam on the world stage as a major entity to take into consideration as the nations of the earth plan their future. Right. So it's a big, big subject. And I hope that, you know, we can continue having these kinds of conversations. Yeah. Because, you know, I wrote a piece called Mockery No More. You can't no longer mock us over this teaching.
Come on now.
And I don't mean to cast aspersions, but, you know, during the transition of the nation,
come on,
under the leadership of Imam Warithuddin Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him. Right. He never believed in the theology of his father. And so for 30 months, before Minister Farrakhan stood to rebuild the nation in 1977, many of the old followers were made to feel ashamed for having believed in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching on the wheel. The wheel was mocked. The wheel was recategorized as a fable or as a methodology just to get us to feel proud about our blackness, etc. See, so now this is a different day and a time.
Come on, man.
The minister has confirmed what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught, that prior to 1975, you know, you just had to believe.
Right.
But now faith, the faith of the pioneers, is being rewarded.
Come on, man.
With the evidence to vindicate them in their early faith. And I thank Allah God for the pioneers. Yeah, we got research today and footnotes today and citing sources today.
Right.
But they believed before all of this was made available. It's easy to believe today.
Come on.
Right.
But they believed when it was difficult to believe.
Come on.
Right.
And so I thank Allah for them, and I thank Allah for us. And I believe we are being prepared for the victory. 48 years ago, 1973, O Wheel, 48th Surah of the Quran, the victory.
Victory is mine.
For the victory.
Victory is mine.
I have a question.
Today is mine. Sorry.
Oh, help me, Sister Claudia.
You know I
You
choir.
have a choir. You finna have
a
church
choir.
up in
Okay.
here.
I told Satan, get thee behind.
That sounds
Victory today.
Untitled song right there, man.
You finna have church up in here.
Look, I have a question for you, brother. I need to put this together, so I hope you'll be patient with me, okay? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
Do your thing, bro.
So God offered a glimpse of the superior technology to our enemy. I think I heard one of you say that, so they could see how more advanced our technology is. Okay. In the read, you know, the mothership, the mother plane, it is made with metal. It is made with metal that's been fused
The
together.
finest steel.
The finest steel.
A certain composition of steel that is not readily known,
Today.
you know, to the intelligence of this world.
That's right.
Okay, all right. Now, the mother plane uses a 100% explosives. The God of this world uses 70% explosives. If by any chance, now I would think with that, when you have that type of knowledge of how superior the technology is and how they could, like Brother Dimitri said, how could they could just shut down all of your electronics and things of that nature. I mean, as a fighter, as a man of intelligence, right? You would say, I submit. You are more powerful than me. My son can't beat me. I don't care if he had a gun, a broomstick in his hand. He can't beat me. He know it. It's known. He has this intelligence, so he don't even try.
Your son is not Satan. I think I see where you're going, Brother Kyle.
So I guess my question is, right? Do you think the reason why they still attempt to fight this powerful machine, right, is because they say, you know what, it is metal, and if we do get a lick on them, we could get them. If we could get a lick, do you think they just taking a shot in the dark, and that's why they keep fighting? I hope you understand where I was trying to go with that question.
Yep. You know what? See if you can you let me share this slide real fast? And while I'm sharing this slide, before I even get to it, I would say that, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about it, and I'm certain the minister has too. They actually have weaponry. Elijah Muhammad said that white man of America actually has weapons that could actually rip the wheel apart. Heck, if they got weaponry that can destroy humanity 100 times over, certainly they have that capability as possible, could rip the wheel apart. However, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, but they could never get to her. You know, they could never.
Right.
He said that even trying to do it would be suicide. But like we mentioned earlier, see, Satan is a different beast.
Yeah.
He's not human like you or me and us and, you know, your sons, your children. He's a different fella.
Right.
And the scriptures, those prophecies, give us a glimpse as to the mind of Satan. That's why we lifted those prophecies of a Pharaoh and a Herod, because these people were clearly given the evidential signs of God's superiority. He clearly shows that he has power over the weather, over the animal and insect life, over the plant life. He has power with his vehicles. But that didn't stop the mind of Satan.
Right.
That only feeds into him and hardens his heart. You see, he will try to fight God with this scripture that I had right there. Not scripture, but that quote from the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, where he says that the white man of America, and I think Brother Dimitri first showed me this, says the white man of America is well informed through his scientists and scholars who are paid just for studying the problems of prophecy. Notice he said the problem of prophecy. See, prophecy is a problem for the devil, and especially the future destruction of America, which he knows is fast coming. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad also said that these people, they study prophecy not to submit to the will of God, but literally to try to fight God. Whereas you and I, if we were to study prophecy, we would do it so that we would try to do and submit to the will of God and find favor. But this dude, this is Yaqub's fellow right here.
Right.
He was not made to submit. Remember, he was made to try to master the original man. So it's not in his nature to take advantage of an opportunity of the supreme being who's giving you a way out. And all they have to do is submit. All they really have to do is submit and take heed to the solutions provided by God's messenger among us, which is the Honorable Minister Farrakhan.
Right.
You know, from your and my point of view, that would seem like that's a no-brainer. But I'm telling you, this Satan, that's a different fella there, boy.
You want to take it? You want to go at it, Brother Dimitri?
I think brother answered that beautifully. I would only add that, you know, the prophecies describe Satan, and that's the key language to use to understand and arrive at the answer to your question. So you have to look into the scriptures to see what the scriptures and the prophecies describe of the end time events. It's a subgenre of religious studies called eschatology, where the scriptural writers or the religious scholars discuss how the scriptures paint a picture of what to expect at the end of this present world. And all of the world's sacred texts describe, you know, a battle in the sky. They describe an ultimate showdown between Satan and God. And so certainly Satan has been given many opportunities to, as the Quran says, get a glimpse into the heavens. But they know that the heavens, according to the Quran, is a guarded canopy, right? So the wheel is guarded. The wheel is of a dual nature of blessing, but also wrath. And so in the final analysis, the book of Revelation, as well as the Holy Quran, describe the ultimate defeat of Satan. It never says that Satan would give in. And one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that Satan's end is timed to coincide with him being at the zenith of his power. So now imagine Jordan in his prime. Imagine Mike Tyson in his prime. In their prime, who did they fear? They feared no one. Even though we saw Brother Mike, he ran up against a force that, even though he may have been in his prime, some say he was past his prime. To me, anytime you step in the ring with Mike Tyson, you need to be afraid.
Right.
But he came up against a man, as Minister Farrakhan provided commentary. He said Mike was, kind of arrogant, but Evander came in with the scripture wrote on his leg. Philippians, I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. Yep. So even though Mike was our Muslim brother, Evander came in with spiritual power on his side. So Satan's doom is timed to coincide with his most powerful season in the world. So he, as we were saying in the streets, man, he feeling himself. When you feeling yourself, can't nobody tell you nothing. So yes, he knows that there's a power that has caused his weapons to be taken offline. But as the old saying goes, it is what it is. So Satan has to go for broke, trying to fight God. Wow. Would that he would have listened to the wisdom of the old black grandmothers in the South. Come on. When we were cutting the fool and acting up, they used to tell us, baby, your arms are too short to box with God. Come on. But I guess they say that's too much like right.
We short on time. So if Brother Ahmed, if you have a question, I would ask you brothers to have a quick answer. Do you have a question, Brother Ahmed, about anything?
That ain't possible, Brother Kawi.
That's possible, brother.
You invited preachers on your show. Didn't you know that? Weren't you forewarned?
You answered that one question very short, brother. What about you, Sister Mariam?
I do. Okay. So to go back quickly to when you were speaking about Brother Ilya, and I believe it was you that were talking about the pioneers, yes, and how we stand on their shoulders, and we're so thankful for them or the Brother Dimitri, either one. Yeah, we were talking about Brother Dimitri, that we stand on the shoulders of our pioneers who believe just off faith. And that is so beautiful. So the question is, how do you encourage believers that have had sightings of these baby planes or the mother wheel, more like it was a baby plane, whether they had a vision-like experience or whether they have seen them in person, which Allah has blessed me to have both. And I also want to know if you all have had yours as well. But how would you encourage them to hold on to truth? Because it is possible for doubt to creep in, not unbelief, but doubt. It's like, did I? I was kind of tired.
Look, if you've been blessed and have been granted to see any of these aspects of Allah's majesty, that in and of itself should serve as encouragement. Right. Encouragement that you should continue and that you're on the right path. Because now, if you've seen these things, that's all the more verification that what we believed in is actual truth. And if that's true, and Allah verifies that, then what other promises of Allah will be rendered true? You see?
Right.
So all we got to do is now continue to believe and study, but most importantly, submit.
Right.
Because look, God don't lie to us. His promise is true, but we can't approach it in a spooky way and expect his promise to be the way we think it ought to be. No, he promised us in gardens wherein rivers flow. He promised us plenty money, luxury, good homes, friendships in all walks of life. He promised us victory over our enemies. This enemy is the most powerful enemy that has existed in the last 6,000 years. But here we are, the children of slaves, and God has literally come for us to put us on top of the world. He wants to see us win. And part of the evidence of this wheel and these wheels are signs of evidence that should encourage us that we got this power on our side. As Brother Dimitri showed us in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. See this wheel? That's on our side. That's our defender.
Right.
That's our protector. We are his people, and we should think like it, we should act like it, walk like it.
That's right.
Minister told us, and Brother Dimitri, I'm certain you probably remember this because he shared it to us a few times in some of those meetings. You know, we are in the time of God. Yeah, I know it seems like the devil is still in power, but his time is technically over with. So we are in the days of God now, which means we should take on that, think that, live that, walk like it, be a God.
Right.
That was the short answer.
I forgot about the short.
I'll only add to it this. You know, in the Bible, Jesus gave the Beatitudes in the 5th chapter of Matthew. And it says in one of those verses, for they shall see kind of exposure to that again, which is a part of his secret wisdom. You see, we have to stop looking at what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan teach as just the teachings.
Right.
We can the Holy Quran. These are books of revelation, again, documenting the activities of God in the life of man many centuries ago. Are you bold enough to believe that what God did yesterday, he would do for you and do for me? To me, that's where the rubber meets the road at in terms of what do we really believe, you see? Because if you were blessed to have that kind of an experience, you know, I consider you to be one of the beloved of Allah, as we all are. But when there are those who have those kinds of special experiences, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know, he talks about that in the Theology of Time. He talked about how one out of so many hundreds of people in the East, you know, are seers. And he talked about the ability to see the wheel.
Brother, I'm gonna start off with a sister brother, a jock sister.